The U.S. Senate just put together their agriculture bill and sent it over to the House. It's got a $2 billion cut in what's called SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Programs, what used to be called food stamps. The Republicans in the House of Representatives want to cut $20 billion out of this. We have, according to the USDA, somewhere between 6 and 9 million people who are on various occasions going to sleep hungry or experiencing hunger, what's called food insecurity. But even if it was zero, you've got tens of millions of people in the United States who are so far down on the economic ladder that they're having to make choices between eating and being homeless, or eating and taking medication, or eating and, I mean, not even a choice between eating and buying insurance or something like that. And in the richest nation in the world, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Franklin Roosevelt said, "A necessitous man is not a free man." I am a big advocate of personal liberty. You are not free if you are hungry. You are not free if you are homeless. You are not free if you are sick and you don't have health care. You are not free if you are, in any of these conditions. If you're not free if you want to work and you can't find a job. You're not free. This is simple reality. And yet the Republicans say, oh, yeah, let's cut out some more food stamps for these people. Let's take $20 billion out of this. What kind of person would do this? Maybe Chris Edwards can give us some insight. He's the director of tax policy studies and the editor of downsizinggovernment.org over at the Cato Institute, the libertarian think tank, formerly the Charles Koch Foundation. Cato.org is their website. Chris, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. I'm one of those evil people that would cut the food stamps, I'm afraid.
Well, I don't understand why. I don't think it's funny.
The first point I would say is, looking at the numbers, the food stamp spending has quadrupled over the last decade, from about $20 billion to about $80 billion a year now. And the Republicans blame it all on Obama, and that isn't true. Food stamp spending actually roughly doubled under Bush, then it roughly doubled again under Obama. And the number of people on food stamps has soared from under 20 million to now 48 million.
As has the number of homeless people, the number of unemployed people, the number of people who are not making it in this country anymore. You have half of America right now below the poverty level.
Partly the recession, but it is mainly because they've expanded the eligibility over and over and over for food stamps. So, college kids get food stamps these days, and they never used to get food stamps.
Good.
And so I think this is the real problem, getting this many people dependent on the government. But I'm not just picking on low income people. We had a forum today at Cato where we attacked farm subsidies. Wealthy farmers get an increasing amount of federal handouts. We're against that too. So I want to cut the welfare for the rich people and low-income people, because I think that, the federal government is just starting to control too much in the economy.
I think it's just heartless. I mean, I'm serious. I'm with you on cutting welfare for rich people. Rich people don't need it. But when you're talking about somebody who's making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year working at Walmart or working in the food service industry or working 2 and 3 jobs, just absolute crappy jobs, or cleaning somebody's home, and they're barely making it by, and they got a couple of kids in school, and they can hardly pay their rent, and then people like you come along and say, oh, yeah, let's screw them.
Okay, let me suggest this to you that we might agree on. I think that there's a lot that the federal government can do to actually lower prices and make life easier for low-income Americans without subsidizing them.
How about raising the minimum wage?
Farm bill, for example, the federal government runs a massive dairy program that subsidizes dairy farmers and raises the price of milk and cheese and other dairy products. I would get rid of that sort of program that harms low-income people and also screws taxpayers just for the benefit of wealthy producers.
You know what harms low-income people, Chris? Low incomes.
Right,
so let's do something about that. Let's say that if your patrons, if the
price of food.
No, let's say that if your patrons, if the Koch brothers, or if any other industrialist in the United States, any business, period, whether it's my small business or whether it's their big business, any business in America that refuses to pay a living wage has no business being in business in America. The economy has doubled since Reagan took office. During the 33 years of Reaganomics now, from the time of George Washington until the time of Ronald Reagan, productivity and wages both went up, and they tracked each other almost perfectly. There were a few bumps along the way that usually had to do with wars, but they tracked each other almost perfectly. Now, since Reagan, productivity has continued to go up. And if wages had continued to rise as they were in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, along with productivity, right now, the average household wage, instead of being $44,300, would be $90,000. Those people would be paying more taxes. You'd have no problem with Social Security or Medicare. You'd have no problem with a deficit. You would have your middle class back. But instead, wages have been flat since Reagan. Productivity continues to go up. And what has filled that gap is the top 1% and the corporations of America taking trillions, literally with a T, trillions of dollars out of the economy, putting it in Swiss banks, putting it in the Cayman Islands, stashing it offshore, and the rest of us get screwed. The problem with low-wage workers is low wages. Let's fix that.
You seem to have it all figured out, and I would suggest that all of this data is a lot more complex than you might think it is.
No, it's not.
I'll give you one example. The data that shows a supposed increasing income separation in America, more poor people, more rich people, the data has a lot of problems, and one of them is this, that more and more, there's more single family parents in America, more divorce than ever before. And
that's what happens when your economy sucks, is people break up. The stress is reflected in high divorce rates.
Married couples who stay married tend to have higher incomes because their incomes are combined. Couples that separate and single family parents have more lower.
Chris, look at the statistics over the last. Chris, hang on just a second before you go any farther with this. Look at the last 50 years, and you will see that whenever we go into recession, divorce goes up. Suicide goes up, divorce goes up. Whenever we go into a recession, whenever we're in a boom time, suicide goes down, divorce goes down.
So we should. I agree with you. We shouldn't have recessions then. And I've got.
Well, historically, the way we dealt with recessions is with a social safety net. We said if when capitalism goes through its inevitable cycles, when capitalism fails, then the government steps in and says, here's your unemployment benefits, here's your food stamps, here's your housing support.
Well, I don't think this recent recession was a business cycle. It was caused by government policy in my view.
Absolutely. It was caused by Phil Graham deregulating the banks.
Well, it was Bill Clinton, actually.
Well, it was during Clinton signed the legislation, I'll give you that, but it was proposed by the Republicans and pushed by Phil Graham, whose wife was on the board of Enron. This was all about Enron. Chris Edwards, Director of Tax Policy Studies, downsizinggovernment.org, cato.org. Thanks, Chris.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Chris was in a hurry to get off the line there. So, anyhow, we'll be back 15 minutes past the hour.